Hey guys, okay, so this week we're talking about feminism and music, or women who rock. And I should start by saying that when I was writing my script for this video, I was listening to Lil Wayne Lollipop, which is pretty much the least feminist music ever. So I'm not about to lecture you all on how you should like only listen to feminist friendly music. This is for two reasons. Because one, it is possible to listen to really problematic music and to enjoy really problematic media as long as you recognize how or why it's messed up, and you realize that that's not okay and you're not listening to it or enjoying it for those reasons. Um, and for the second reason is you wouldn't be able to listen to that much music at all. Like another example is if you only watch films according to what fit the Bechdel test, then you would probably only go to the cinema like once a year. So and anyway, nobody's perfect. So there are some awesome feminist types who screw up once in a while, and especially if they reach like a high level of fame due to sort of industry pressure and stuff. So you're not going to find anything out there really that's completely fault free. So yeah, I'm going to talk about some of these, well, two musicians that I really enjoy and I really admire, even though they're not perfect. So the first one I'd want to talk about is Rihanna. I love her so much, it's ridiculous. But a lot of people always sort of tend to assume that she's really not feminist at all. She's really sexually explicit in a lot of her lyrics and in her videos, and some people would argue that she's sort of commodifying in that way her body and her sexuality for public consumption, especially male consumption, as the majority of chart female musicians do, which is quite sad. But if you pay attention to Rihanna, it becomes very clear that she's doing that it's as much for her as it is for the male audience. There are loads of her songs and her videos which like You the One, for instance, like that she's constantly like referencing her junk in quite a male sort of a way, and a just like yeah kind of thing constantly. And that's quite, I don't know, that's quite different, really. You don't see that a lot, and it's about her and her sexuality and her pleasure and stuff, which is really good. And like for example, Rude Boy as well. Like I know the lyrics aren't exactly the most complex, but it is about her sexual gratification and not his, which is a massive contrast to a lot of the music you hear about sort of sexual gratification stuff coming from women in the charts. She recognizes that it's her business, what she's wearing, what she's doing, and she does get quite sort of fierce about it. She doesn't take anything from anybody, and she realizes she shouldn't have to account to other people, and she doesn't. And one of my favorite songs of hers, Man Down, is, I just think it's amazing because it sort of blasts through these social taboos, and talks about rape, and gives this narrative of a rape victim actually killing her attacker. Whilst it's fictional, it is so highly like emotive and really like quite empowering, I think, in a way, to rape or sexual assault victims, because it's kind of giving this message that you don't have to stay a victim and you can take back that power. And as well, like in the video and stuff, it shows her flirting with the guy who rapes her. It shows her wearing a short skirt, dancing, like whatever, and still has the message that it wasn't her fault. He was the guy who fucked up. He was the guy who raped her, and he was, the criminal in the matter. And I think that's you don't see that message ever. If you see, the thing is, I think with Rihanna, there has been a lot of controversy about her recent collaborations with Chris Brown, who she used to be in a relationship with, and he beat her up. A lot of people have been saying, she's a really bad role model for girls. First of all, like, I have many problems with this, and I think it's quite a difficult subject. But first of all, I don't see people complaining that Chris Brown is a bad role model for boys, and that you know, why is he allowed back in the industry? He's a domestic abuser. I see people blaming Rihanna and saying that she's the one who's bad because she's, it just fucks me off. Secondly, she's a victim of abuse. We shouldn't be dictating how she should be reacting. You know, that's enough to mess up someone's priorities if you've been beaten up by someone who you thought loved you. And she shouldn't be having to deal with all of these criticisms as well. We don't know how she's coping, if she's coping, and everyone deals with these things differently. And, you know, the vast majority of people who are abused go back to their abuser or stay with their abuser, and we shouldn't be hating on Rihanna for that. Anyway, Rihanna hasn't even got back into a relationship with him. She's just doing collaboration. She's just doing music with him. And the very fact that she's still doing music, she's returned, she's still releasing music, makes me so in awe of her. I think she's incredible. I think she's incredible. The second awesome woman I want to talk about is Beyonce. Yeah, basically, she's who run the world, girls. Yeah. I think she's incredible. I used to pretty much worship her. She has been one of my role models since I was quite young. And, you know, over the years, she has produced some problematic stuff, made some really shitty decisions, but of the vast, you know, majority of her songs and, you know, how long she's been around, I think it's not that surprising, especially she's reached such a level of fame that she must have so much industry pressure on her. I think she's an inspiration to a lot of females, to a lot of everyone anyway. I think she's absolutely inspirational. She was the first woman on, I can't remember what stage it was, in Glastonbury. She has managed to blast through the glass ceiling on so many levels. Like, she's got so far for being a woman and being a black woman. She's got so far, it's incredible. And you know, she's achieved so much in life, and I think that's pretty fantastic, and it kind of makes other people feel like, well, if she can do it, you know, it's not impossible, and that's inspiring. She also has been performing loads with a all female band, which is really cool. And her song that I badly sung before, "Who Run the World, Girls," is wholly inaccurate, but it's quite rousing. Like, it's quite inspirational, and it makes you feel like, yeah, we should have power even if we don't. But she has done a lot of bad shit. I mean, that song was crap because it is completely wrong. But you know, she tried, and there have been some other like really problematic songs of hers. And at the moment, I'm completely disappointed in her because the shit that she pulled when she gave birth to her daughter Blue Ivy or whatever her name was, where she apparently, I don't know how true this is, but I've read it lots, that she like hired out this hospital, which meant that like everyone else in the hospital, like people weren't let in and out, so you know, other people were giving birth, and you know, the next of kin couldn't go in and see the newborn baby and shit like that, and I think that's just fucking disgusting. And it was just next level diva shit, which I think is completely unacceptable. However, I still love her music. I still love a lot of her music and a lot of the things she does, but it doesn't mean that I'm going to overlook the really bad shit that she does. But I think, you know, that's the case with pretty much every celebrity. And I could go on about so many other women who rock, but I don't have the time. And you know, there are brilliant role models and stars out there. Unfortunately, most of these amazing women don't get as much publicity as they should, probably due to the fact that they're women and they're breaking stereotypes. But that doesn't mean they're not out there. And I think on a personal level, I think it's really important to find someone who inspires you and who makes you feel empowered, and who you can dance like an absolute fool to because it's fun and it makes you feel good. That's it. Yeah, have fun, listen to lots of music, it's good. Okay, bye.